Found out they was changing money and charging usury and stuff in there, charging interest on loans. And Jesus was like, yo, this right here, what y'all doing right here, this ain't finna, no, y'all ain't. Think about this. He didn't have a whip on him. That's what tripped me out about this story. Jesus didn't like have a whip on his horse rolled up on the saddle or something like you see some cowboy movies or something. He didn't have no lasso when he came in and whipped him with a rope. Nah, he took some rope, some cords, a leather plaits, and plaited it together and braided it together and made a whip, and then beat they behinds and turned over some tables. And I imagine he wasn't cussing, being Jesus and all. I probably would have been cut. That's why he didn't have me do it, because I would have ruined the whole example. I'd be up in there cussing and fussing. They'd be like, what is this guy doing?
Get ready for news and views from Lubbock, Texas, USA. What's going on? And real talk with people who move and do things. This is the Focus LBK Show with your host, Robert Jenkins.
Hey, y'all, what's going on? Y'all saw the snazzy intro, so you know it is time to Focus LBK. This is Robert Jenkins, your host. Welcome to the Focus LBK Show. This is season 3, episode 118. Y'all remember that old Christmas story? 'Twas the night before Christmas. Y'all know how it go. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. Well, this right here ain't really the night before Christmas. This is the episode before Christmas. And I guess what I'm gonna do is just share some thoughts before Christmas, some thoughts on Christmas before Christmas. See, I've been thinking there's a lot of things over the last few weeks that have been occurring to me. One of the first things that I felt in regard to Christmas is that I don't know, the mood in the country is a little bit shaky right now, as far as I can tell. You know, I'm a kind of a sensitive guy. When I'm out and about, I get the vibes. I feel how people are feeling. I hear the snippets of conversation. You know what I'm saying? I hear what people are concerned about. And I think there's a lot of things to be concerned about here in this Christmas season. So just want to kind of talk about some of the things that I've been thinking about, some of the things that have been on my mind, on my heart in regards to Christmas, and in regard to things that are in some ways outside of Christmas, but should be probably done, I don't know, all year round. It's a mindset. And you know that old saying, people say, man, Christ is the reason for the season. Okay, clearly this is true. If it was not for Jesus' sacrifice on the cross, if it was not for Jesus giving himself for us, we would not celebrate this. And some people say, oh, Christianity, you know, it's just a bunch of fables. It's just a bunch of fairy tales and stuff like that. And Jesus was a good teacher. He's a wise man and stuff like that. Well, I tell you what, the thing that makes me doubt that we're just talking about fairy tales told by a good teacher and a wise man, there's something that makes me doubt that. And it's this. People all over the world are arrayed in a mighty host against Christmas. Christ's mass is where we get the word from. Christ is the reason for the season. Jesus is the reason for the season. There's forces all over the world, from our own government, and at least in previous iterations, who were utterly anti-Christian. Y'all get mad at me. I remember one time, as an example of this, how the government is anti-Christian. Right now, all over the world, there's Christians being killed in Nigeria. United States President Trump actually said something about it, to his credit. Years ago, I remember a time when President Obama, a lot of black folks love him, was in office, and there was a massacre of Christians overseas. I forget the country it was in, but it was a huge massacre of Christians by Muslims. And none of our government at the time, that was Obama's cabinet, it was Obama's regime, the Obama regime. Nobody in his regime, neither him nor Hillary Clinton nor anyone else that I saw, acknowledged that Christians were slaughtered because they were Christians. They said, oh, some Easter worshipers, something, it was tragedy with some Easter worshipers. No, they were killed by Islamists because they were Christians. They were slaughtered. And our own government said Easter worshipers. And I remember thinking at the time, what is an Easter worshiper? We don't worship Easter. Isn't Easter? I ain't no preacher, but I felt like I done picked up a couple of things over the years about Easter. And I think Easter is when the rock was rolled away and Jesus was found to be risen. Isn't that what it's all about? Isn't that like the most important part of the holiday? That if you're a Christian, don't you believe in Easter? Then don't you believe in Jesus risen from the grave? So to diminish that in any way, form, or fashion is an intentional slight in my mind against Christianity. And governments all over the country, all over the world, rather, do this. And they uphold and they put forward groups that do it as well, groups that denigrate Christmas as well. I try to stay tuned into the news of the world, and I see over in Germany they just recently had, I think they had a big Christmas Day attack. What it was, they have these famous Christian market or Christmas markets in Germany. So it's Christmas time and they have these huge, wonderful outdoor markets. I'm told I've never been to one. I read a lot about them. But in recent years, Islamic fundamentalists, terrorists have taken to driving trucks through these events because it's like when you go to a farmer's market and you're walking on the streets and you're seeing all these tents and all these booths and they're selling Christmas wares and gifts and who knows what, hot chocolate, I imagine, you know how it works. Well, people are ramming these events with trucks. Go rent a box truck from U-Haul or something and just go through and kill as many people as you can. They ain't doing that because the people who worship Santa Claus, right? They ain't doing that because the people are white, because they killing Christians in Nigeria right now. Muslims in Nigeria are killing Christians. They're not doing it because of race, color, or creed. They're doing it because it's an attack on Christ. And Jesus said in the Bible, I don't mean a Bible thump here because I don't know the Bible well enough to thump it, first of all. And second of all, I'm just not the kind of dude to be thumping anything at anybody. But Jesus says something in the Bible to the effect of the world first hated me, so of course they're going to hate you. They don't really hate you. They don't hate us as Christians. They hate Christ. And that's the thing that makes me look and say, there must be something to this Christianity, because nobody attacks Islam. The Christians don't run around the world right now plowing through Islamic festivals. Never have, as far as I can tell. I'm sure somebody out there knows of one that I don't know of, some attack against Muslims. And of course, not talking about government wars and stuff like that. Those are always motivated by the devil. All war is by evil forces, the accuser, the opposer, the opponent, Satan, Set-an. It comes all the way back to the Egyptian god Set. No, it seems to me that people attack Christianity wherever and whenever possible. And they do it largely with impunity. And that's one of the things that ticks me off, because I'm a big person on self-defense. So I was talking about these Christmas markets in Germany where the people, you have thousands, tens of thousands of people walking along in the cold with the mittens on, in the snow, getting cocoa and buying presents and all that. And then some devil's minion comes and drives a truck through it and kills people. So now they have to either cancel these Christmas festivals over in Germany, or they're putting up what they call bollards. They're literally anti-tank emplacements, big old concrete barriers designed to stop tanks from getting into a place. They just painted them white and red to make them look a little less war-like, a little less like war material. And they put these all around the Christmas markets, and they're telling people to be on the lookout and watch your back. This is an attack against Christmas. Well, since we know it's Christ's mass, we see that it's an attack against Christ is what it is. He said it all. He said it himself. They hated me first, so of course they're going to hate you. And I don't like the concept of being weak and helpless. Jesus himself wasn't weak and helpless. The obvious example from the Bible is when he went in the temple and they found out they was changing money and charging usury and stuff in there, charging interest on loans. And Jesus was like, yo, this right here, what y'all doing right here, this ain't finna, no, y'all ain't. Think about this. He didn't have a whip on him. That's what tripped me out about this story. Jesus didn't like have a whip on his horse rolled up on the saddle or something like you see some cowboy movies or something. He didn't have no lasso and he came in and whipped him with a rope. Nah, he took some rope, some cords, a leather plaits, and plaited it together and braided it together and made a whip and then beat they behinds and turned over some tables. And I imagine he wasn't cussing, being Jesus and all. I probably would have been cut. That's why he didn't have me do it, because I would have ruined the whole example. I'd be up in there cussing and fussing. They'd be like, what is this guy doing? But he was like, you brood of vipers, you den of thieves. Whop, whop. He was busting heads, you know what I'm saying? Kicking tables over. People probably on the floor trying to not get hit. He whop, get your whop out of whop my. Hey, you know, when you when you used to get a spanking and they have to give you a lick and talk a little bit and then give you another lick. That's what I see. So in other words, Jesus was not no little shrinking violet. Jesus wasn't no punk, as we used to say when I was a kid. He did advise us to turn the other cheek, but there's also a time for every season. What did he say? A season for everything. So I don't know. I've always been attracted to a more active, muscular, manly kind of Christianity, kind of religion. I used to be attracted to Islam when I was younger, when I was a young man. I used to want to be a Muslim, and thank God I didn't go down that route, because now I just don't think that's for me. But the thing I was attracted to is that Islam at the time seemed to be a lot more masculine and a lot more active. Did things in an active voice. There was things you needed to do. You needed to pray 5 times a day. You need to face this direction. Discipline. That's what I liked about Islam when I was a young man. Like I said, as an older man, I'm no longer attracted to those. I'm no longer attracted to Islam, but I'm still attracted to those same masculine, active principles in religion. And so one of the things I've noticed is that I've seen there seems to be a call, a pull. In fact, it's not just seems to be. Researchers are saying that I think it's the younger generation, the Gen Z. Gen Z is not going the way the millennials went. They're not going the way Gen X went. They are conservative and they are Christian. They're not trying to be spiritual. Oh, I'm spiritual. You know, I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. No, Gen Z, from what I understand, these young kids are pulling back toward God. That's what religion means, actually. The word religion, as I understand it, comes from the Latin religare. Ligare is to tie off or to tie something together, bind something. Religare is to pull something back to you and bind it back to you. So religion, my understanding, means something roughly like to bind something back to the source, to tie oneself back tight up against the source. The source, of course, is God. And they tell me Gen Z, these researchers, I'm seeing this everywhere. I read a lot, and they're telling me that Gen Z they looking for some active, muscular Christianity. They ain't just trying to be no little weak milquetoast Protestant. Everybody is God loves everybody. No, they want Catholic theology. They want Eastern Orthodox theology. Everybody acting like they hate Russia. One of the things I like about Russia, and one of the things I like about Vladimir Putin, or at least I think I do, I've never been there, but from outside it looks interesting and attractive, is that he is encouraging people to be religious. We in the United States seem to be trying to encourage everybody to be irreligious. Russia is like, yes, go to church, form families, have children. The thing that God wants us to do. And you can say, I'm not saying Russia's God. I'm not saying Russia's even good. I don't know. I've never been there. I'm just saying when I look as an outsider and look at them, I wish my government was talking like that instead of talking the way they do half the time. I wish our leaders weren't encouraging us to have abortions every time you turn around. I wish they were encouraging us to form families, get married, love your wife, love your husband, give yourselves unto each other. Wouldn't that be something? That would be something to see on Christmas, during the Christmas season, wouldn't it? Yeah. I'm just noticing that, man. People seem to be pulling back toward the source. They seem to be seeking a relegation. Legation is to tie something off. Relegation. Religare. Religion. A lot of people are trying to rebind themselves, it seems like. And even my own family. I'm the head of my family. I take that role seriously. That means I'm responsible for everything that befalls my family. And so one of the things that I did is my heart has been moved recently to get my family back in church. And so honestly, in the 3 years that we've been here, we've been visiting a lot of churches. Okay, let me rephrase. We haven't been visiting a lot of churches. We have visited a few churches and they were all good. There's nothing wrong with any of them. But I think recently we just found a church that seems to exhibit that muscular, active type of Christianity that I like. See, a lot of people say, oh man, all you got to do is just believe in Jesus. Just confess you believe with your heart and you good. And that has never sat well with me. And maybe the people I've heard ain't explaining it right, or maybe they leaving something out. I don't know. But that right there, when I hear that, oh, you just say you believe in Jesus and then you can get baptized and then you good. Just go to church sometimes. And I'm like, nah, I feel like it's more than that. And the reason I feel like that, it goes back to that age-old argument, faith versus works. And people say, no, it's just about faith. You have to have faith in Jesus. And my thought is, yeah, I agree. You do need to have faith in Jesus, faith in God. But the thing to me that I can never escape, the thought that I can never escape, is that if you actually believe in something, you do stuff that demonstrates that belief. Because you believe, that means you understand deeply in your heart and you have committed to your understanding of something. And you have faith in it, you trust it, you have confidence in it. If you truly believe something, you cannot help but act in ways that further your belief in that thing. So I've never been cool with this thing of, oh, we'll just say we believe. What do you do though? Well, we go to church. Yeah, but what do you do? People that don't believe go to church. You know what I'm saying? What they say in the Bible, I think it's James. I believe it's James. He say, yeah, but you believe in God. Of course, demons believe in God too. And they tremble. They know he real. But they don't. And what do demons do? They act on their belief. They know God is real, but they know who their daddy is. And they fight for their daddy. They God. This is what I notice. This is why I like muscular, active Christianity, is because evil people who are under the sway of the adversary, people who are so wrapped up in themselves, they don't care about if they hurt you. That's evil. They purposely do things that don't care if it hurts you and yours. Those type of people, oh, they work hard for their master. They father the devil, Satan, the adversary, the opponent, the accuser, all them cats. Same dude, different names. They love they cat because they steady be doing stuff to hurt God's kingdom. They never cease. But we just go to church and say we believe. And that's what always sits wrong with me about that. If you say you believe, you're supposed to go do stuff. And I ain't talking about going to fight nobody. This ain't we fighting a spiritual battle. One of the groups that I have noticed that gets out there and does things and that attracts me. Y'all have heard of me talk about them on this show before. It's a group called, it's a prison ministry called Freedom in Jesus Prison Ministries. And they, under the leadership of Stephen Canup and Don Castleberry, they go out to a prison every weekend, I believe, in Texas. Somewhere in Texas, they are in prison every weekend, preaching, ministering to the inmates, going door to door, cell to cell, to the people that can't come out of their cell. People that are in prison. They so dangerous and mean and ornery. They in prison. They can't even come out their cell half the time. They go cell to cell. These Freedom in Jesus prison ministers, they go cell to cell. and minister to these cats. They ask them, do they need anything? They pray with them. They get them Bibles. They get them literature. They write to them. They produce videos that go on the tablets of the prisoners. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's that muscular, active Christianity that I like. I don't like going to church and we just sit back and praise the saints and the elders and be all, let the preacher talk and then go home. You know what I'm saying? That's good. And that's going to be on most Sundays. But you need to be doing something. I feel like in my heart, I need to be doing something. I ain't going to say you. I'm really talking to myself. I'm talking about me. I need to be doing something. Because to me, when I believe in things, I go do them things. You see what I'm saying? If you believe you want to help people, don't elect no politician. Go do something. The government ain't going to help nobody. Politicians ain't going to help nobody. They're going to help themselves to your pocketbook and help themselves to your sovereign power and your sovereign rights. They ain't going to help you do nothing else. When you want something done, you got to go do it. So you say you believe in something, then go do it. I remember one time when I was still active duty in the military, this must have been around 2003, 4, and 5. I felt like the Lord told me one time he said, feed my sheep. I heard somebody say, feed my sheep. It was, when I say heard, it's so weird to explain this. I've always been concerned about how to understand and hear God. And I thought I felt something in my spirit. I don't know if it was audible or not. I can't even remember. It was just a real insistent voice, insistent urging, yo, feed my sheep. And I said, well, how do I feed your sheep? And something said, well, go to Burger King. There's a lot of homeless people around base, outside the gates. This is a terrible area in San Antonio, over there by Lackland. At the time when I was there was a lot of homeless people. And so I went and got some gift cards from Burger King. You know what I'm saying? And I was trying to give them out. Interesting thing, when I was trying to give those free, it was $5 cards. Keep in mind, this is 2005. So a $5 card would get you a number one meal. I think it was a Whopper with fries or something like that. And there was a Burger King right outside in the middle of where you see all these homeless people all the time. Right outside of Lackland. So I remember one time I took $100. I got 20 of them cards. And I said, yo, he said, feed his sheep. That's what I'm finna go do. Here's what happened. I could not give those cards away. Every time a homeless person would ask me, hey man, can you spare some change for me, man? I'm just trying to get something to eat. And I'd be like, yes, I can. And I'd reach in my wallet and get one of these cards. Like, yo, man, it's a $5 gift card to that Burger King right there. All you gotta do, man, you go over there, it'll get you a number one. Boy, believe me when I tell you, they would get that card from me and look at it and be like, when I was reaching in my wallet, they'd be happy. They'd be like, and then when I give them that card and explain, their face would be like this. Man, I couldn't give them away. I ended up eating all those $5 cards for lunch over the course of a couple years because I couldn't give them away to homeless people. I don't know why that. And then you start realizing, okay, well, these people don't want food. They want drinks and drugs. They drug of choice. They don't want no food. I mean, one time, getting off subject, but I mean, one time a homeless dude in San Antonio came up to me at a shopping center, not too far from that Burger King. He's all kind of in the same part of town. And the dude came to me, he's like, man, can I borrow $20 to get some shoes or something, some money to get some shoes? And I looked down at his feet. His shoes are as good as mine. I looked at it, I was like, yo, man, your shoes look, I didn't say this to him, but I just was thinking to myself, yo, your shoes look just as good as mine do. No, you can't have no money for no shoes. And this is probably after when I couldn't get rid of those gift cards for the free meals at Burger King. I don't know where I was going with that. That's just, the point I'm making is that, I heard that feeling. I heard that unction in the spirit, I guess they call it. Say, get out there and feed my sheep. Well, apparently, maybe I wasn't feeding them the right way because that didn't work at all. That's all I'm saying on that. Point is, I like that muscular, active type of Christianity. That's why I like Freedom in Jesus Prison Ministries. They do stuff. And it ain't comfortable stuff. When we go into prisons, it ain't no walk in the park. It ain't no picnic. It ain't fun. It's a gut punch, man. It takes it out of you. To me, anyway. When I get out of there, I feel like I've been working all day, and it only be like 2 or 3 hours. You just be like, whew, drained. I like that. I like that muscular, active Christianity that makes you feel drained. You know, people say you can't get into heaven by works, and it makes a lot of sense. I'm sure you can't, but at the same time, that don't mean you ain't supposed to do no works. I don't think. I ain't no minister. I don't know, but I feel like just because work doesn't get you into heaven doesn't mean you're not supposed to do the work. Because like I said, if you believe strongly in something, you have to do something about it. You have to. Just like, that's why I don't believe people that talk about climate change, for example. That's why I don't believe people that talk about they want to control gun control. Guns are deadly. You don't think guns are deadly. You just don't want us to have them because you stay surrounded by security guards with guns. You don't come out in public without security guards with guns. You just don't want me to have none. The climate control cats steady getting on jets to fly around the world on private jets, handful of people on a plane flying to Brussels somewhere, Paris, to attend some kind of climate conference. I'm like, dude, you just burnt more energy and put more quote unquote greenhouse gas in the atmosphere than everybody in my neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Yo, one house is all these rich people with houses right on the ocean talking about the sea levels finna rise. Well, you can see they don't believe it. Because if I thought the sea levels was going to rise and it was going to be some actual threat, I would not have a house on the beach. If I thought my activity was harming the earth, I wouldn't fly to no climate conference. You see what I'm saying? That's why I don't, what they say, but look, what they say, by their fruits, you will know them. And I guess that's what I was looking for. Looking for somebody with some fruits that I could see. That fruit is what is attractive to me. I always think of that song talking about Christmas and Christmas time and the spirit of Christmas and the spirit of Christ and stuff like that. I always think of that old song, The Little Drummer Boy. I get emotional when I think about that because that's how I feel. It was a little, you know the story. It was the little drummer boy. He was a poor little street urchin, basically, my understanding, I think, from the song. He just a poor little homeless dude trying to scrape and struggle and stride to get by. And he heard the newborn king was here. And he was like, yo, I got to go give the king a gift. He's the newborn king. He's the king of heaven, really. You know what I'm saying? I got to go give him a gift. He's the newborn baby. And he was like, yo, but I'm poor. I barely got clothes. I'm barefoot. But he said, oh, I got this drum though. He said, yeah, I got this drum. Boy, I'm finna go beat this. When I get done, boy, they ain't go, everybody over there gonna be bobbing their head because I'm gonna be, you know, when I beat drums, it sound like hip hop. I'm sure his didn't sound like hip hop, but when I think of drums beating, I think of, you know, hey, I'm sorry. I'm a child of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. You know what I'm saying? I'm a hip hop head. Used to be. Now I'm getting to be a jazz head, but that's a whole other conversation. Think about this little drummer boy and how he just said, yo, man, I got to go play my drum for the newborn king. And it says he played with all his heart and soul and body and mind. Pa-rum-pa-pum-pum. Pa-rum-pa-pum-pum. Rum-pa-pum-pum. Rum-pa-pum-pum. That was his talent. The little drummer boy's talent. He just spent it all to give it to God right there. And that's what I've been thinking about too lately is we all have talents. You heard the parable of the talent in the Bible, and I was reading it last night. I got to read it about 2 or 3 more times because it's just deep, man. It's like shocking if you actually read it. It was a master. It was a rich guy, and he had several servants. And he said, yo, I'm finna be out of town for a while. I'm finna be over here conducting some business, I guess. I don't know what he was doing. And he said, while I'm gone, I'm gonna give y'all some money. In those days, y'all know the story. In those days, the coin or the measure of gold was called a talent. It's a specific measure of gold. And I was reading something the other day. It say, this is amazing. If it's correct, it's crazy. A talent was a measure of gold that was equal to I think it said 20 years of a working man's daily salary. Wow. So this master gave these guys, these 3 servants, 20 years salary of gold. If that's correct, what I was reading is correct. And he say, yo, y'all take these talents. Everybody gets, he gave one guy like 10 talents. He gave another guy like 3 or 4 talents. And he gave another guy like 1 talent. It said according to their ability, basically. I don't want to misquote that, but that's why I say I got to read it 3 or 4 more times. But he gave these dudes a varying amount of gold depending on their abilities. So in other words, he wants you to use your talents like that little drummer boy. He don't want you to hold it and play it in your room. He wants you to go play for the newborn king. He wants you to go spend that talent. So what happened was in this parable, y'all know, I'm sure y'all know about it. He gave the one dude a lot, and gave one dude a middle amount, and one dude a 1 talent. And the dude that he gave 10 talents, master went away for a couple of months or whatever, came back. This dude then went out and traded and did all kind of business and came back. He had doubled it. He had 20 talents. And he was like, yo, here you go, master. Master got back. He said, yo, what you got for me? He was like, yo, man, I got 20 talents. You gave me 10. I got 20. Blink. And I think he rewarded him handsomely for that. He was like, good job. Did he give him some of the talents? I don't know. Now I say I got to read it again. The guy that had like 5 talents, he doubled it too. He came back and gave him like 10 talents or 7 talents or something like that. Master said, good work, you good and faithful servant. Gave him some dap, you know what I'm saying? I think he broke him off some of the talents or whatever. And then, so he done broke these 2 dudes off and said, good job, my good and faithful servant. Now the dude that he gave 1 talent, see, the master already knew it was according to their ability, according to their drive, according to their hustle, according to their desire to serve, to get out there and use them talents. So the dude he gave 1 talent, he was like, yo, master, I know you a hard, cruel dude, and you'll come in and take what you didn't earn. He said, you'll reap what you didn't sow and sow what you didn't reap. So I was scared, man. I just took that talent you gave me and I just buried it in the ground out back where nobody could find it. And then, when you came back, man, I just give it back to you. So you gave me 1 talent. I'm gonna give you 1 talent. And he took that dude's talent and gave it to the talent is a way to go. It's 20 years of salary. He took that dude's 20 years worth of salary and gave it to the dude that already had 10 years worth of salary. So he took what little he had and gave it to the one that had more. Think about that for a second. You ain't using your talents. That's what I'm talking about. You got to get out there and hustle in a godly fashion that's meant to serve God, in a way that's meant to do honor to God, to our Lord. And that's what Christmas, to me, I'm starting to realize that's what the spirit of Christmas is. The spirit of Christ's Mass. The spirit of the Mass of Christ. Mass is a religious ceremony. The Catholic Mass, Christ Mass. You're giving him a gift. He already gave you a gift if you accept it. You know what I'm saying? I always think about that little drummer boy, and this is where I always get a little misty. Then I realize he said, basically all I got is dirty rags. You know what I'm saying? All I got is dirty rags. What can he do with this? Well, I can play this drum. So maybe that's what I'm saying, LBK. If you're a person who has been given talents, perhaps it's time for us to get out there and beat our drum. I've been given many talents, and I understand that I've been blessed, and I understand that I probably ain't doing enough. And I would just ask for this Christmas season, I would ask for the Lord our God to purify my heart and all the hearts of those of you out there listening. If your heart is so inclined, then I would ask God to purify our hearts and give us that spirit of muscular, active Christianity. We got to stop letting the evil one encroach on our territory, encroach on our domain. This our domain. This is where we be at. He can't come over here. But if you just sit back all the time and chill at the church and all that, That's how he makes advances against our host. Their host against our host. Hosts, mighty armies in the field. These are spiritual armies. But these spiritual armies cause physical action in the real world. That's why you got to fight in the spirit. And that's why you got to be seen to be out there as Christians doing battle in a Christ-like way. Which, as we've seen, might include taking your belt off. No, don't do that. If you do that, man, well, I don't know if you feel like the Spirit is telling you to do that. I ain't gonna tell you don't do it, but I'm just gonna say you probably ain't gonna come out as well as Jesus. But then again, did Jesus come out well from that either? He didn't. We see what they did to him. So but then again, that's the challenge. You know they gonna hate you. That is the challenge. Are we gonna rise to the challenge? I pray that I have the strength to, the dedication. To get out there and beat my drum. I don't want to be that servant that when he come holler at me and be like, yo, boy, I gave you 52 talents and you giving me back 51. You done lost a talent. Get out of here. Boy, scoot. I don't want to be like that. I want him to be like, well done, my good and faithful servant, and dap me up. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel like. Yeah, just some things to think about this holiday season. LBK, I don't know. I asked y'all to join me in trying to incorporate the Spirit of Christ into my life more, and to do those things which free up my time, which means saying no to some things, but free up my time so I can get out there and beat my drum. Pum, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to do right now. So that this Christmas season, we don't even have a lot planned. I think I'm just going to meditate and cogitate, read this Bible, and try to rest up and get my strategy together. So when I come back out, I'm going to be coming hard with that drum. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be displaying them talents, but hopefully in a way that's pleasing to Christ, who is, of course, the reason for the season. Thank y'all for tuning in to season 3, episode 118 of the Focus LBK show. We're going to probably go pretty silent during Christmas. I'm going to keep some content flowing, but we probably won't record another show until the new year. So in the meantime, I want to say God bless everybody. God bless Lubbock, Texas, USA. God bless Texas. God bless the United States. Pray for your leaders. Pray for your enemies. And pray for peace. And pray, I would say, I'm going to pray. Can't tell y'all what to do, but I'm going to pray to be more effective in the kingdom of God. Peace.